And I want to show you guys some examples, and we'll go through this one really quickly, but we want to talk about opt-in forms. And opt-in forms are really, it's the first way of getting into things. And I've got some examples here of different opt-in forms, what works and what doesn't work. And I'm going to show you what works and what doesn't work, and I'm going to show you why it works. The first one I want to show you does not work. This does not work, and I'm going to show you why I do it this way. On the front page of TeacherCast, it says name, email address, and stay updated. Now, this sounds really crazy, but the first thing on the top of my page above the fold that everybody sees when they first come to my website doesn't work. And it doesn't work on purpose. I made this so it doesn't work. And I don't want this to work because I want you to actually click one of these things. I want you to come to my website and say, oh, I'm interested in integrating technology. I'm interested in going into a podcast. But if you really want to come and sign up for this, that's great. You're going to find that most people, help me, Tom, most people aren't going to be clicking on here because if they're brand new, you haven't convinced them. You haven't made that like, know, and trust. So you want to get them to actually see your content. Again, that's improving your bounce rate. That's adding dwell time. That's gaining your analytics. And that's SEO boost for everybody. So when you come to the website, I want you to see featured news and updates with some nice posts and stuff here. I want you to see this. This is not important to me. And because of that, I only have name and email address. Let's click on a few more. Sidebar forms. Usually when we think of newsletters, we think of sidebar forms. Do people really see them? Do we put them in the best light? Where are they? So if I click on the sidebar form here, I have a post of mine, a recent one. And you'll notice here, this is in what I consider the perfect location. It's in the top right. Everybody sees this. And if you notice, this here is the form. And if you're thinking about this as a WordPress widget, this picture is a widget. This is the image widget. And then the form is like this. So I made this form. It's called a naked form because there's nothing on it. And it's very, very simple. I ask for your first name. I ask for your email address. You never ask for your last name. And there's a statistic, I don't know all the number stats, but the less that you give, the more options you are. Think about it. If your opt-in form says name, email, phone number, birth date, social security, no one's going to do it. If I just get your email address, I don't know who you are. I can't personalize the emails. That's another conversation. You can't personalize the emails. I can't say, hey, Tom, how you doing? Or, hey, Tom, I heard you want to be a tech coach. Right? So first name, email address. And then right here, it says IMA. Everything except for my front page has this. I am a classroom teacher, tech coach, administrator, podcaster, librarian, other. Why do I have these? Librarian, college, university. I put college and librarian university because on my survey, somebody said, you don't represent me on your opt-in forms. And I said, that's easy to do. So now I have this. And because of this, as soon as you enter ConvertKit, I have your name as Eric, here's your email address, and I'm going to automatically put you in the podcaster's newsletter. And the first email that you're going to get says, welcome, we're going to learn all about podcasting together. Tell me about your show. Why don't you email me? Why don't you click on our podcaster survey? Why don't you subscribe to my podcast? So I'm having a conversation with you about podcasting. And I'm trying to get you to click on something on my newsletter. And now notice this doesn't say subscribe. There's an action verb here. Download our free template. This is all psychology and this is all actionable stuff. And this is branded. So this is my, this little Goldie thing here. This is my podcasting colors. So that's my sidebar. If I want to look at the simple blog post, here's a blog post. Again, this here, notice similar but different, all branded, the same idea. But in the middle of this, I have download our free template. Right here, I have a picture of what the template's going to look like. And here it's simply name, email. I don't want to, on here, I purposely didn't care about IMA because I probably already have that. Or if I added a third column, it's not going to look as nice. Please keep the questions coming. I love them. I see there's a private comment. I'll get to that in a second. Thank you for that. All right, next one, bottom of the post pages. These are the ones that you mostly find, like watch my stuff, look, read. And then all the way at the bottom, here it is. The problem with this is, do people actually get to the bottom of your blog post? So I do this for two reasons. Number one, if I get to the bottom of the blog post, Google knows. Number two, I make this nice and big. And again, IMA. So if I'm down here, I probably read through all the content and I want to make sure that I'm now subscribing to something that, again, I like, know, and trust. And I put this particular one on many blog posts because this happens to be my ultimate guide. This one is everybody downloads this one. I make sure that everybody downloads this one as much as possible. Then you have the last two. We have Premade Forms. This one here happens to come directly from ConvertKit. It's nice. ConvertKit in the last year has completely redesigned all their forms, making it easier, nicer, and a lot more eye-appealing. Every company has their forms and stuff like that. I kind of like this, but as you notice, it's kind of like, ugh. And so because of that, we have two examples here of what landing pages are. And again, landing pages is another webinar altogether, but this is what you probably signed up for to do this. Again, this is actually on the TeacherCast site, which means I get the analytics for it. I can now track who's on this page and who you are, my avatar. It's branded. It says two different calls to actions, register or learn. And I can tell by which button where you're going to go. If you say learn more, I'm going to guarantee you're not going to sign up. But if you hit register, you're probably guaranteed you're going to sign up. I can funnel you depending on these different things. I've got my little picture. And now there's two calls to action on here, sign up or schedule me. And so I've created this not by accident, but by looking at dozens of other people's landing pages. Here's another example. This is the one for my mastermind. This starts off with a coupon, right? This says, are you this? I'm asking a question. Are you somebody that needs my services? Do you qualify for needing my services? If you're not, you're going to bounce off the page. If you are, it says, hey, how can I sign up? Or I'm interested, but not yet. Then we break it down. Have you ever considered? Well, here's who I am. What will I learn? Here's what you're going to learn. Here's some of the things that I'm going to give away. Here's all the freebies that you're going to get for joining our mastermind program. Finally, halfway down the page, we get to the first box that says sign up. Then I have social proof, people that are in the mastermind. Then I finally down here, I have our fact questions, more fact questions, and then again, sign up for it. So this landing page is really a journey to, number one, get you subscribed and paying, and number two, get you interested in the content that we're putting out. Let's see, we have a couple questions here. Is there no point to offer a 30-minute free discovery session on whatever session in exchange for names? Yes, there's a point to doing it. Because we're here for this webinar. This is the 30-minute discussion. So if you want to create little webinars and things, go for it. If you want to say, I'll give you 15 minutes of my time, or I'll give you a webinar, or I'll give you a free podcast, absolutely do that stuff to get people interested in it. Tom, I know we've got a time crunch, but do you want to chime in on anything about Optin Forms from your awesome experience?
Yeah, I think this one, if you go back to the one that was the sidebar form. Yeah, this one's really great. I definitely would recommend. A lot of people, not so much anymore, but like a lot of people really said, just leave it at email address because that's going to get you the best conversion rate. That's going to get you the most opt-ins because you're asking for the least amount of information. And I think that's definitely a misstep that a lot of people make with email marketing. I would recommend always ask for first name. Personalization is so incredibly crucial when you're trying to form a relationship with people. And my only caution here, with the IMA segmentation drop down is, make sure that you are doing that across your site. I know, Jeff, you said that that's pretty much everywhere except for your homepage. If you don't do that everywhere that you have forms, you kind of run into a management issue as you scale, right? Because you'll have these straggling subscribers that really don't have an affiliation to anything. And you can tag them later, that's a little bit more advanced. You can try to segment them later. But I think if you standardize this at the forefront, it's really, really helpful. And, the people who are going to bounce and not give you that information, that's very simple, basic information. They're probably the people you don't want on your email list anyways, if they're not willing to tell you that they're a podcaster. They're certainly not the type of people who might be interested in buying from you, at any point. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
So there's a question in the chat box about pop-ups. And if you notice that whenever I loaded these pages, there's a little pop-up that comes up here on the top that says, are you an educational podcaster? And again, this is a call to action. If you notice, this came up not right away. It actually comes up after 7.5 seconds. That's mathematically done towards my analytics. And so what do I think about pop-ups? Here's my response. And I'm going to say these words, so please don't take offense to it. Imagine being at home and somebody's going to come to the door to take you out on a date, right? So imagine your name is, let's not go down there. But let's imagine that some guy is going to come and pick you up and take you out on a date, right? And he comes to the door, he knocks on the door, you open the door, and he's standing there, and immediately he drops down to his knees and he gives you a ring and says, would you marry me? You don't know the guy. You've never talked to him. You don't know what he's doing. You just know, I'm seeing you for the first time, and boom, proposal. Do something. Give me your email address. I don't buy those, because what do we naturally do? If we go to a website and boom, there's a pop-up that blocks the entire screen, we're going to click out of that pop-up without even reading it, or we're going to kill the tab and we're never going to go back. So people are getting more savvy about this. Email marketing companies are getting more savvy about this. This here is all done from a company. Tom, help me out. WP Beginner, Syed Belki.
Optin Monster.
Thank you. It's a long day and it's 110 degrees in here. So this is actually done through a company called Optin Monster. Okay. Again, these here is done through ConvertKit. If you're going to do pop-ins, okay, don't put them in right away. You can also do exit intent, which means when your screen notices that your mouse goes outside of the box, then it pops up. So in other words, let your readers see the actual blog content and work with it. But then as soon as you're ready to bounce, then have it pop up and say, hey, before you leave, sign up for my newsletter. Or what I've also done on some of my pages is I've said, once you get 30 or 50 or 60% down the page, then pop it up, or then slide it in, or then show me from the side. I would not do pop-ups right away. Everybody has their opinion on that, but if you click on Twitter and you're going to click on my website, and before you even see the content, a pop-up comes that says, give me your email address, or, hey, you've won something. I wouldn't do that, and I'd never go back to that website. So again, it all comes down to like, know, and trust.
You've been listening to the TEACHERCAST Educational Network, hosted by Jeff Bradbury. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter @TEACHERCAST or online at www.teachercast.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.